Good afternoon, seasoners, or morning, wherever you're listening to this. I am so excited for today's guest. You will not believe what happened. What you may not know is that for the last 30 years, I have been searching an absolute vein for the name of the person who interviewed me for Club Med in Montreal 30 years ago. That's right. I've been searching for the name of my guest today for 30 long years. It was a chance conversation with a soon-to-be guest on my first season, who shall be nameless for now, that I put two and two together. I reached out to him. We had a lovely conversation. And yes, it's him. He is here. He worked for Club Med from 1988 to 1992 and was also a recruiter for Club Med from 94 to 2000. His first season was at Club Med Cancun in 1984 as a bar geo. He has one of the best Club Med interview stories you will ever hear, seasoners. Please help me welcome from my hometown of Montreal, Jimmy Dimopoulos. Hey, Jimmy, how are you?
Hey, Greg, how you doing? Happy to be here with you today.
Well, yeah, I'm more than happy because as I shared with you and everyone just now, I have been looking for you for 30 years. So your ears must have been burning for that long. Like, did you know? Did you know I was looking for you?
No, not at all, Greg.
Okay.
To be honest, when I was listening to your podcast and I saw the name Greg Hanna, I said, I know that name, but I didn't break my head to figure out where I know it from. But like you said, we hooked up and it's all clear today.
Yeah, well, unbeknownst to you, you hired me for to be a scuba gestion, and I became a chief of sports. So you must have saw something in me. But we're gonna talk about that when we get to '94, because you have, like I said, you have one of the best interview stories. But here on first season, we like to take it back a little bit. You know, you're from Montreal. You studied at Concordia, you know, where I actually work now and go to school. But if you can just tell me more or less, like, how did you find out about Club Med? Did you see ads or anything?
Well, when let's say in my early 20s, I had met some people that had gone to Club Med and they told me how great it was. So then in the winter of '84, I went on vacation to Cancun, the Club Med in Cancun. Went for 2 weeks, had a great time, loved it. Went back again, I think it was in it's like maybe April. I had a great time. And then I said, no, sorry, before that, sorry, March. And I had a great time. And I said, well, I want to apply and become a geo. So I sent my resume to Club Med New York to get to try to set up for an interview. I got a paper back saying that I was rejected. I freaked out about that because I had another girlfriend of mine that had gone on vacation that winter also in Martinique, and she got accepted for an interview. And I said to myself, hey, I'm geo material here. How come I'm not getting an interview? So one night I went out with a couple of buddies, and while we were out, I said, you know what? We're going to drive to New York City tomorrow morning, and I'm going to get an interview. So we left Montreal like, who knows, maybe it was 4 a.m, sped our way all the way down to New York City. Must have got like 2-3 speeding tickets going down. So I arrived in New York. I go to the New York Club Med office, and I call up to speak to Judy Epstein. She was in charge of recruiting back then. And then a young lady by the name of Adele Alamazag spoke to me. And she said, oh, we're busy now. We can't speak to anybody. I go, listen, I drove all the way from Montreal for an interview. I go, you cannot not take 2 minutes and speak with me. She says, you're right. So come upstairs. So I went upstairs. I met with Odell, and she hired me on the spot.
So many questions. All right, let's start out. So you dragged friends. You dragged friends of yours with you on this road trip?
Yeah, two of my best buddies. We got it. We, like I said, we went out the night before and we were talking about it. And I said, yeah, let's go down to New York for a quick drive.
Okay, quick drive. Yeah, I'm guessing these guys didn't have to work the next day. All right.
No, for sure.
Second question, or let's give the listeners an idea. A driving time, Montreal to New York. What do you think it is? 7-8 hours?
Yeah, around that 7-8 hours. Yeah.
So you drove all night to
no. Early in the morning we left.
Okay, early morning. You get there probably late afternoon, right?
No, we got there before noon, I think.
Jesus, how fast were you going, Jimmy?
No, we were going fast. We were going fast. Believe you me, we were going fast.
Right. Might have been an F1 driver if this Club Med thing didn't work out. Yeah, this is nuts. So you show up without an interview, driving. I mean, I'm glad that this person actually. I mean, this could have gone another way, right? You realize that, right? Like you might have not gotten in the front door. So this is cool that all this happened, right?
Oh, for sure.
Because you went to Cancun as a GM in '84. So how long after this interview did they contact you?
I think if I remember right, I was in New Cancun for my first season, somewhere at the end of May.
All right. Did any of the GMs or GOs recognize you because you were just there as a GM?
No, because the seasons back then were like 6 months, and the changeover was end of April, beginning of May. So there
Okay.
was a whole new team when I come in.
Were
When I
you
was there on vacation, it was there. Sergio, Mr. His name is Sergio. He was the chief villager, and when I got in for my season in '84, he was Terry Pical.
Yes, Picard, not to be confused with Thierry Ricard, another
No,
chief of village. And as you told me, Thierry Picard, your chief in Cancun, had a sister, Barbara, who also became a chief of village, right?
that's right, sir.
Okay. Now, were you happy to be sent to a place that you were just there as a guest?
Cancun for me was the best place because I'm a water skier, and with that lagoon to do water skiing in was like a dream come true.
Okay. And how nuts was Cancun in the 80s?
It was pretty crazy.
Okay.
Again, this is a family show, so we can't get
Exactly.
into detail.
Thank you,
But
Jimmy.
Cancun back then, listen, back then we had no keys for the rooms. It was good times, good times.
If you were there in '84, I can never remember the year Cancun opened, but it wasn't that long after, right? That you were there. It opened, right?
Yes, I think I won't be 100% sure, but I think it opened up in '78. I'm not
78.
100%
Okay.
sure.
But
And when
but
I was there, I mean, it was virgin. There was nothing.
yeah, the
Uh,
the strip was probably like you could see still down the beach without any high rises, right? I'm
there
guessing.
was nothing. There was like two little condos, towers, maybe like I don't know, about a meter, let's say a kilometer away. And then there was nothing all the way to the point where where's the Hard Rock Cafe and the Harley Davidson place. There was nothing all the way there. We used to have excursions like on Sundays, and then we'd walk by the beach, and there was like some Mayan ruins on the beach there, and we'd have an excursion day that we'd walk there and back in those years.
Like most bar geos that come on this podcast, they fall into two categories: one who never took a bartending course in their life, and the others have taken a bartending course. Which one do you fall into, Jimmy?
Well, I never really took a course, but I've always been in the restaurant business, so I had some, let's say, practice and working in a bar and a restaurant. So I knew how to make drinks and that. Yeah.
Because your family was involved in the restaurant business, right?
Yes, we've been in the restaurant business, right?
Okay.
Myself too.
So what do you remember about? Do you remember who picked you up at the airport, or did you just get driven to the village? You basically tell me what you remember about your first season as
Okay.
a GO there.
So when I arrived in Cancun, the planning, the responsable de planning, I don't know if that still exists today, he came and picked me up at the airport. I forget his name, is a Portuguese boy. And so he picks me up at the airport and then he brings me to the village. So, I'm all excited arriving in the village. And it was pretty full that time, at that point of the year. And so I get in. And back then, I don't know how it is today, but back then we were usually two people per room. So we always had another person living with us. So since I didn't know anybody, there was a free spot with the baker of the village. I get into his room, and the room was disgusting. He had as pets, they call them Mexican raccoons. I think the real name is Kundamundi.
Excuse me, he had one of those as a pet.
Two, two of them
God,
in his room.
were they wild, or did you just
Yeah,
buy
yeah,
them?
they're wild animals. He picked them up and he got them in his room. And the room, Greg, it stunk of what these animals do. I mean, they do their business in the room. He had it all over the place. My bed was covered with that stuff.
Are you serious? Okay, you're not pulling my leg. This is true.
I swear to God,
Jimmy, no one's ever said this in 3.5 years of this podcast. Oh my God.
I mean,
So how do you broach that? How do you broach that subject with your first roommate in Club Med?
Well, I didn't see him because he was a baker. So I arrived like I can't remember. I think it was like early afternoon. He wasn't in his room, so I go straight to
Now, wait,
planning. I said,
were those pets in the room when you got there?
yes,
Sorry,
yeah,
you're
it
blowing my
was
mind. You're
crazy.
blowing my mind here. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. So I go to the planning. I said, listen, it's not going to work out. I can't stay in a room with a guy, dirty, disgusting room. Like they had like what's called bowls with water for them and food. I mean, it was disgusting. It stunk. I said, okay, don't worry about it. We'll clean it up because there's no other room. You have to stay there. I said, okay, what can we do? So I just left my stuff. I didn't unpack anything. So I just took a bathing suit. I went in because the first day you gotta take it easy. They give you first day off. So I go to the beach and then I get the room up. I'm excited. The room was cleaned up. I get dressed. I go for dinner. Go to the discotheque at night, and then I come in at night. Must have been, who knows, maybe 12, 1 o'clock, who knows, because I knew I was starting the next morning. So I get in and I see the guy and he's there, he's sleeping. And I know he's a baker, so they usually get up early, these guys. So I go to the back in the room, I undress, I put a little t-shirt on and go to sleep. And as I get to my bed, I go to kneel onto my bed. What do you think my knee goes into?
Okay.
A nice pile. I was so mad.
No.
Man, I was steaming.
Oh
So
my
I
God.
go take a shower, try to arrange to get into take the blanket off and get to my bed. And I slept that night, and I had to stay there for a week. But he was, I think, if my memory is right, they made him take the animals out.
Okay, I'm starting to think maybe this guy is more clever than I thought because he maybe the one way to avoid having a roommate was to do this. Did that ever cross your mind? Okay.
Probably
Okay.
no. I didn't think of it
This
then,
is
but now,
this might be a
as you mentioned
genius.
it, yeah,
He's a
yeah,
genius.
genius.
I mean, he traps two Kudamundis and knowing they're going to defecate everywhere. Oh wow, okay, yeah, I think this guy is the next level here. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so they move you out of this room and you get a new roommate or what
Yeah,
happens?
that's right. So finally, they moved me in. I move in with another bar bartender, and I forget his last name. His name was Ron, a really cool guy from surfer boy from California, and everything went much better after that.
Okay, all right. Well, it's gonna be hard to top that Kudamundi story, but what?
Yeah,
Roughly how long were you in Cancun this first season of yours?
I was there till middle of November. About
Okay, so you got
it was
any
a long season.
other stories or anecdotes from this season that you'd like to share?
It was a pretty mild season. There wasn't really, I mean, no real great adventures. I mean, it's a great village. We do a lot of beautiful excursions there. Chichen Itza, Koba, Tulum. Used to go do scuba diving in Cozumel, but I can't really say there's something outstanding that came out.
Well, no, that was one of the best first season stories I've ever heard. So I can't wait for people to hear this. Now, do you ask to go to? Was there a dream sheet back then? Did you ask to go to Haiti next in 8045, or that's where they sent you?
Well, I think we had the dream sheets back then. I don't think Haiti was in my dream sheet because Haiti back then, as is today, it's not very developed. And so, like at the end of the season, I didn't have a village for me yet. So at the end of the season, it was like almost middle of November because the replacement that came for me, something happened to this kid. He freaked out. They had to send him home. He had like a nervous breakdown or something. So I ended up staying a little longer, and so the village is I didn't have any village, so I ended up taking off for about a week. Took a flight, flew from Cancun to a town called Villa Morsa, and from there I took a bus into the mountains. It's very beautiful, that area. I went to a town called San Cristobal de Casas. Do you know that?
I've heard of it. Yes.
Yeah. So in that area, and then I visited, Palenque, another beautiful site that had pyramids and Agua Azul. And then when I get back to the village, they say, "Where are you, man? New York is looking for you." I go, "What's wrong?" Well, you have to be in Haiti in 2 days. I said, "Okay." So then I went home and packed my stuff, and then I went off to Haiti.
And you find yourself with, I believe, a legendary chief of village, right?
Oh, Jean-Pierre Battard, yes, the famous, world famous Jean-Pierre. He's the one that they say invented the crazy signs.
Yeah, especially that one. I think it was in Tahiti, right? The one with the where we learn all the movements. I think every first season Geo learns it. I just can't remember the name of the song that goes with it. Well, every chief changed the song, right? But yeah,
That's right. Every chief. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. I
So
think usually back then it was, yeah, usually back then it was with C'est bon pour le moral.
yeah, yeah. So what do you remember about him?
Jean-Pierre Bartard, he was whacked out, this guy. I mean, that season in Haiti was probably the greatest season they ever saw in
Well,
Haiti.
wait. Okay, just because you've used that word twice, whacked out. I guess for you means like he's a good guy, right? Like he's
Really? Yeah,
like he
yeah.
goes up, he goes above and beyond. Yeah, I don't want anyone to get the
Oh,
wrong picture. So
no. This guy, I mean, just to give you an idea, Greg, our dinner, it's called the restaurant entrances, phenomenal. I mean, we would set up for hours and hours. One of our entrances was like a pirate entrance. We're all dressed up like pirates with bottles of rum. It was crazy. And then he would do another one like a Moroccan king. He was dressed up like a Moroccan king in a big bed, and they had like the beautiful hostesses all dressed up like with the little veil in front of them. He would have animals, and then you had our DJ Max. I don't know if you heard this guy named Max Salpelter. You ever heard of Max?
oh, I've heard of that
World
name.
famous?
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
Max, world famous. He's about 6 feet tall plus. He would have like just a G string on, and he was fanning him with a big fan. Crazy. For Christmas, listen to this. For Christmas, he built like a manger. I mean, it was complete crazy with what like he had brought in animals and everything. This guy did the greatest things. Also, once a month we do in the whole area in front of the restaurant, like the Marché de Bastille, and we had like people dressed up as policemen, girls dressed up as hookers, people like shopping. He'd have like a not grocery stores, like food places with fruits everywhere, clothing stores, boutiques. It was crazy the stuff he was doing.
So needless to say, you and him got along great.
Oh, Mr. Batari was great, yes. And we had a great team. I mean, the Club Med the Club Med, they put all their money in that season. They were bringing people from that place was packed completely all season. I mean, I think every week we had to give our rooms up and triple up, quadruple up to give our rooms till the vacancy would go. It was a beautiful village, and they spent money like crazy. We had like the best cheeses in the annex restaurants, great French wine. That was really a great season.
What were the GMs that 84-85 season? Were they mostly European or North American?
We had a lot of people coming in from France, Europe, a lot of Quebecois people coming in, New York. That place was full all season long.
So being from Montreal, I'm sure you had a lot of GEs on the staff. So how was your Creole? Was it good?
No, I never was able to catch that language. I mean, just a
Okay.
few words, mabouli petit petit, and actually, how are you? And you would say mabouli petit petit. That's pretty much that all I remember from back then.
Okay.
But let me tell you, when I arrived to Haiti, the flight was a great flight. We arrived into Port-au-Prince Airport, and then it was dusk. It was like at the end of the day, and this taxi driver picked me up, and it's like, if I remember right, it's like about a 2 hour ride. So I get in the taxi with this guy driving like, yeah, like an F1 driver, like my trip down to New York, probably. He had one light that was burnt out, and the other light was pointed to the sky. So we couldn't see anything. This guy was driving so fast. I mean, there was two, three times I wanted to open the door and just jump out. That's how scared he got me to bring me in.
This guy scared you? Like he drove faster than you did from Montreal to New York?
Oh yeah, and in those roads, that was pretty fast. Yeah, yeah. Oh, he scared me, scared me well. Yeah.
And roughly how long is your season here at Haiti?
Haiti, we were there. I was there, so I got in like kind of late because from because I had to stay because I didn't have a village yet. So I got there like I guess it was towards the middle end of November, and we left April from there.
Okay. So you next go to Eleuthera in '85, but
Oh,
this
can I
time
ask something
Oh
about
yeah, yeah, please, yeah.
okay, about
Please,
Puerto Rico? So
please.
when I was there, I was working in the bar, and we had greatest people, the people that work the I get with PS. Is that what they're called? The was that what we call
Back
them?
then, yeah, back then. Now it's GE, but yes, back then
Yeah,
in
I think it's PS band
84,
or something.
85, yeah, it was
Yeah,
PS.
yeah. So they were great, and it's funny. Most of these guys have like names of presidents. There's Nixon, Roosevelt, Lincoln. I don't know how come they all have names like that. But to make a long story short, so I was working there, and I didn't feel like we were working hard. I had no time almost, so I had no time to clean my clothes. So one of the guys in working the bar with me, Roosevelt, he said, "Oh, I'll clean your clothes. I'll charge you." I can't remember what he charged me. So everything was great. The clothes was coming every week, nicely ironed, smelling good. But I was just noticing, like, if I had designs or anything, they were fading fast. And I remember one day I took a bicycle, and I was driving around on the main street going to the next town over, which is called Muri, where most of the PS were living. So as I was driving there, I stopped at like a grocery store, or whatever, and I see one of the kids that was working for him. His name is Nixon. So, Jimmy, come downstairs with me. I want to introduce you to my family. Blah blah. So I go down to the area, which is really poor. I'll tell you, it broke my heart. These people lived in huts with like an 8 by 8, like a whole family living in it. The floors were the ground. The walls were a piece of sign, cardboard, whatever they get. And then I said to him, I go, "Hey, does Roosevelt live here too?" He goes, "Of course." I go, "He's the one that's doing my laundry." I go, does he have electricity here? He starts laughing at me. Because there's no electricity here. I go, "No." "How does he clean my clothes?" He says, "Look over here. There's a river coming down, and they kind of separate it." He goes, "He cleans your clothes here." And as I'm looking, I see my clothes drying on rocks. So I've understood how my clothes was getting faded quickly.
Hey, I still would have taken that deal, okay?
Oh
Because
yeah, for
as
sure,
a GO, there's nothing worse than having to do laundry, right? You only have a little
for
time
sure.
to do it. You get back, there's three of your favorite T-shirts are gone. No, no, man, I would have taken that river
No, yeah.
wash any day.
No, it was a good deal. I didn't mind the fading. I
Well,
can
well,
live with
now
that.
now I'm wondering how he ironed it if there was no
That I
no electricity.
know. I don't know how he did it, and it was really well ironed. I mean, even my t-shirt, t-shirts today, you wash them and wear them as they come out. No, they were ironed, like really. No, it was really something.
Nice.
Yeah.
So water ski, Geo. You do water ski in Eleuthera, but so you got to take me back. Did you learn how to water ski when you're younger or something?
Yes, I've been water skiing like from 12 years old. With my cousin. We had a boat. We were driving our boat. We were water skiing. So I was pretty advanced water skier. And again, also in Cancun, I was skiing almost every day with the ski team. In Haiti too, I was skiing all the time in Haiti with them, and I was doing the water ski shows. And in Haiti it was great too, because at the end of the day, we used to take there was an island across called Gonaïves. I don't know if you heard. Their island Gonaïves across from the Club Med in Haiti, and we used to take the boat over there because Haiti didn't have good water. It was always rough because there was no like real bays. But across in Grenada, there was a little bay that we'd go ski over there in. And many nights we'd finish skiing, and it would be nighttime because winter the sun goes down fast, and we would see the Club Med, like, man, must be a couple of kilometers away. We had to drive back in the big waves and drive all the way back to the Club Med just with seeing the lights farther away.
Wow, sounds scary. Okay.
Yeah.
So you wanted to switch from bar geo to water ski geo for the Eleuthera season in '85, right?
That's right.
And who was your chief of village this season?
So in Eleuthera, the chief of village was Jean-Pierre Rock, nice man, and our chief of sports was the same chief of sports that I had in Haiti. His name was Ye, and we got along well together. So when I asked for the change, he accepted to take me, and we had a lot of the Geos from Haiti that went to that season in Eleuthera.
I'm guessing there's only one Yay. This is the Yay that later became a chief of village, right?
That's right.
Okay, so he was your chief of sports. So what was this season like in Eleuthera?
Eleuthera was a very, very nice season. Beautiful island. What a beautiful island. Have you ever worked there yourself, Greg?
No, sir. The only one in the Bahamas I missed.
Okay, beautiful island. I mean, on the Atlantic side, pink beaches. On the Caribbean side, it was beautiful turquoise water. Beautiful village.
You were here 6 months or 9 months?
Yeah, 6 months there. We just started, I guess it was May till I got out of there again, and also again end of October, I think it was.
Okay. Do you have any laundry or Cudamundi stories come out of this season? What,
No, that was
what,
pretty
what,
mild
okay.
season. You know what I mean? It was a great team. We had lots of fun together. It was a nice season. Nothing
Okay.
outstanding to say that. I mean, we came close to getting a hurricane that hit us. The village got flooded. I remember that because of the rains. And I remember one day I think we had a arrival departure day. The whole arrival area in the front, we were walking in like 3 feet of water, trying to bring the people in. But that was like the crazy thing. But nothing really out. I can say like a big story came out of there.
And 85 in Eleuthera, was it singles or family,
No, it
couples?
was family. It was a family village. Yeah.
Oh, it was.
But,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. So, and I believe after this season, you take a little break, you help out with the family business, right?
That's right.
Then later on, Ye becomes a chief of village and wants you back in Eleuthera in 88 as a water ski chief.
That's right. I came back to for a month to work with Yay water skiing. Yes,
Okay,
in
for a
the
month.
summer of '88. Yeah,
I believe it was a Patricia Flores who plays sports geos at the time. She would call you up, right, every now and then to ask if you wanted to go to a certain village because they needed you there.
yeah. That's a little later on. I think
Okay.
it's probably early '90s. Patricia, who I had worked with in Haiti and I'd worked with her in Cancun, who was a very good friend of mine, became working. She started working in the New York office, and she became place head of the sports team. She was doing the placement, and many times when she would need somebody to fill in for a week or 2 weeks or a month, she would call me, and I would go do different villages and work for fun.
Okay. Well, let's take a moment to talk about Kevin Batt. So where did you first meet Kevin Batt then?
I met Kevin when I went to work water ski in Martinique.
And he was the chief of
That's
sport.
probably chief of sports. If I remember right, I think it's '92.
Okay. You two both being from Montreal, I guess you got on like a house on fire.
Yeah. Kevin and I, we had a good time together in Martinique, and I am still close friends with him even today.
So later on, like you started to move away from the villages, but as we mentioned, you became a recruiter, a big recruiter for Club Med. So you told a very interesting story that you and Kevin would interview geos in Laval or Ponty, where you're from, correct?
Because after Kevin had his accident, he kind of took like 6 months working in the office. They didn't want him in the villages, and he kind of got into the recruiting part. And one time, because as you know, Montreal and Quebec is a big, has a good place to recruit Jews because most of us are bilingual. And he did a big recruiting week here in Montreal that was like not in an office one to one with a person. We did it on the field, like sports team on the field, you know. So we did like sailing Jews. We went up to his aunt's summer camp on a lake, and we had the geos practice sailing there, and then I have a water ski boat, so we brought some geos to show us how they water ski, and we did on how they and we did the water skiing with them on and here in Rapontsny.
Yeah, this is incredible because there's so many geos that have been on this program that have never sailed or water ski yet. Somehow they end up there. So this is the first time I hear of this happening. Like this, to me, this is amazing that you actually had the means. You had a water ski boat and sailing boats so the geo could prove that he or she could do it. Do you have anyone who was sailing that probably didn't know the difference between a tack or a jibe?
No, to be honest with you, it was I mean, Kevin did his work before bringing all these people in, and no, it was pretty good. And he also did a setup for land sports at Rosemere Tennis Club for tennis, aerobics. He had it well set up. It was always been very well organized, as Kevin Batts.
And for tennis, did a certain, well, I guess not soon to be chief of village, but did Hendel ever go through there as a tennis geo?
That day I didn't work with Kevin at the tennis club, but
Okay.
I think that Handel did come out from that recruiting period as a tennis instructor. Yes, or land
Yeah.
sports.
Because
Yeah,
I believe he started as tennis his first season, if I'm not
that's it.
mistaken.
Yeah.
Let's jump to around 94. And this is almost literally 30 years to the month. I was working as an investment banker in Westmount, Quebec, and TD Bank had bought my trust company and they laid everyone off. You're like one of two I've been searching for 30 years from where I was working in Westmount. a hairdresser by the name of Jean-Luc Garcia. If anyone knows him, please get in touch with me. He would always tell me about Club Med and his stories. I never understood what he was talking about because if you've never been to Club Med, you don't know what they're saying, right? You don't know what their job is. I said,
That's right.
what do you mean when the show is going on, you put a cow in someone's room? I had no idea what he was talking about. Turned out I think he was the animator. He's the one that told me how to apply. No, it's got to be a certain way. The photo's got to be on top with a paper clip like this, and you mail it here. And so sure enough, I get my interview date. It's at Dundee's in Montreal, corner of de Maisonneuve and Crescent. It's no longer there. It's a Dirty Dogs now, and that's out of business. And boom. And he warned me, even though I was an investment banker, he goes, Greg, don't show up in a suit. You have to look like, you're ready to go at a moment's notice. You don't really wear a suit in Club Med, except for maybe Elegant Night. And I remember when I got there was someone actually in a suit. And you were the one that interviewed me. Obviously, you don't remember because you've interviewed hundreds of people. But again, I've been racking my brain for 30 years to think who it is. You kindly sent me a picture of what you looked like back then. It's you. And I had a total George Costanza moment after our interview because you were saying everything right, but you didn't actually say I had the job. So, and then as I left you, I kept replaying it over and over in my head. Well, he did say, because if you go to Club Med, you got to make sure you're not wearing sunglasses. People got to see your eye. I said, but he didn't really offer me the job. So yeah, it was a total Seinfeld, George Costanza moment. But then about a week later, I'm told that I'm going to Turks and Caicos. So wow, thanks for hiring me, Jimmy. Again, I know you don't because you probably placed a lot of geos. Do you know roughly how many you might have placed in Club?
It has to be in the hundreds, honestly.
Yeah, I would say.
Because since I think it was from 94 to 2000, they kind of, because we used to do two big recruiting periods a year here in Montreal, one in in February and the other one sometime in September or something, and but they always needed GOs because there was a big turnover, and they didn't have time. So Kevin was kind of in charge in the recruiting, and I was doing those big recruiting periods. And they said, "Hey, you want to just do it when we need somebody? We'll give you a call, we'll give you their number. You call them up. I think that's how it worked out, right? I call you up and we set up an appointment." So I must have did hundreds of those interviews, either in a Dunkin' Donuts or in a Dundee's restaurant or in a shopping mall, whatever. Or sometimes even in my bar, they would come.
So again, yeah, without mentioning any names, what were certain red flags for you when you were recruiting? Like someone was sitting opposite you. Like if someone said, "I need to take a lot of naps," I'm assuming that was a red flag. Right? So do you recall any there must have been something that went, so do you remember any of the answers?
No, there's so many. It's so many years back, but I'm sure I ended up hiring a lot of good people because when I would go back to the villages, they say, "Oh, I remember you hired me," and look, I did a good job hiring you.
Well, yeah, I went on to chief of sport, so yeah,
right.
Yeah, you saw something in me, so yeah, thank you again for that, man. Do you know if anyone you hired became a chief of village? I know. Again, we're talking hundreds of people. I was just curious if you knew of.
No, not that I remember of. No.
Okay. So you did this about 94 to 2000.
About to 2000, yeah.
Have you gone to any of the reunions, the Club Med reunions at all?
I went to the first one they did in
Sandpiper.
In Sandpiper, yes.
Okay,
that was I think around 2006
or 7. Maybe? Yeah. I missed that one. I went to the 2 after in Cancun, but yeah, I missed that one.
Okay, and then I went to one in Cancun too. What I did, I organized myself. It had to be 20 years later, 85. 90, around 90, was it 25 years later? I arranged a reunion of a lot of us from the Haiti gang.
Oh, really?
And we ended up meeting in Cancun. Yeah, it was a nice reunion. It was just our group, and there was another group from another that same week from another. Do you know Kevin Kenny?
I know the name. Yeah, I know the name.
Okay. He had set up a reunion from another village too, so it was a nice time. I think Endo was the chief of the village when we went there that time. So
cool.
Yeah.
Okay, tell me, Jimmy, who did you like working with all your time in Club Med? In the villages, outside the village? Who did you like working with? Who did you click with?
Well, like we said, Kevin Bad, I really enjoyed working with him. And like I said, we became good friends. He was always, ahead of the game in whatever he does. I mean, he was always organizing something big. Like he did big volleyball tournaments, and he was always fun to work with. I really liked my experience with Mr. Jean-Pierre Battard because he was like old school. He did so many wild. I can't get into it, but he did so many great things. It was always something funny happening with him. Going back to that season, hey, one of his right hand man, he had like his chief of sports was Ye, and we had a guy named Pierre Sarrazin. Have you heard of Pierre?
I've heard of that name. Yeah.
Yeah, Pierre Sarrazin was also a world famous club med GO who went up chief of sports, and I think he almost became chief of village, but he decided to leave. So he was like his right hand man because Jean-Pierre Pétard didn't know how to speak English. So he was doing almost all the chief of village work. And I remember one day Jean-Pierre told him that Monsieur Duvalier was coming. Duvalier was the president dictator of Haiti. So that day, Pierre made everything perfect. He was going all around. He made everything look great. We had to decorate the village. And then he knew that Duvalier was supposed to come for dinner like around 5 o'clock for cocktails and all that. So Pierre put on his tuxedo suit. A big limousine drives in. He goes to the door to open it up. And one of the PS, the oldest PS guy we had, who must have been 100 years old, not even 5 feet tall, with no teeth, comes out of the car.
What?
So he thought, so it wasn't true that Duvalier was coming. He just played a prank on Pierre.
Okay.
Yeah, you got that? Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Now, yeah, it's starting to register now. Okay.
So I mean, Pierre, the whole day he was freaking out, setting up the music, the village, make it look great. The flags of Haiti all over the place. And at the end, it was just a joke that Jean-Pierre Bartard did on him. He was one of the PS that does the sweeping of the village to keep it clean. Came out of the limousine.
Okay.
That's the kind of stuff Jean-Pierre Bartard was doing.
Okay, yeah. So that's for any listeners confused like I was. So yeah, so this was not Papa Doc, because Papa Doc passed away in 1971. This was Baby Doc, which was, I believe, the name Jean-Claude. So Jean-Claude, the son of, correct?
That's right. Yeah, Jean-Claude Duvalier. Yeah.
Okay, but Jean-Pierre Battard basically fooled everyone, right? Okay.
Yeah, everyone, because we thought too he was coming, but the whole joke was to set up Pierre Sarrazin.
Okay.
So you can see to what limit Jean-Pierre Bartard would go to.
Yes,
to get a joke. Yeah.
Well, who else did you like working with, Jimmy?
I enjoyed working with Ye. Ye was a straight shooter. Ye was always fun to work with. A really good guy. I liked working with Ye as a chief of sports and chief of village. I mean, we had so many friends and friendships that we grew over the years that I still keep contact with people from my first seasons in '84. Almost, I still keep contact with lots of people.
And like me, we're both from Montreal. When I ask you about things you miss, I'm sure when winter hits, you're probably like me, just automatically start thinking of a beach, right? And warm weather.
That's right. Yeah, the beach, the beautiful spots the Club Med has found, and the beautiful beaches and the sites, and just learning about the different countries too. Is I always took time to go around and visit what I could see and learn from each country that I went to. There's always so many nice excursions that the club would offer us.
Yeah, no, you're right. Yeah, because it was always a good thing when you went to a country if you got to see some of it, right? Rather than staying inside the village, it was nice to explore outside, right?
For sure.
All right. Do you miss the buffets at all, like I do?
Well, to be honest, Greg, after 6 months eating the same thing, it kind of gets old on you, but you kind of learn how to manage to make your own creations of what you got there.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. Well, I miss lunch, because lunch I could have a hot meal when I wanted, whereas now I never have a hot meal for lunch, basically. So I do miss the lunch for the hot dishes.
Yeah, they're great buffets. Yes, for sure. Miss that. Yeah.
Okay, Jimmy, I'm looking at your village timeline here again. So from when you were in the villages, I was curious, was there one season in particular for you that stood out above all the others? I mean, you might like them all for different reasons, but was there one that, I don't know, was special to you?
Well, to be honest, like all villages and all seasons are memorable, I guess we'd say, and we all had great times. But I think the season that I appreciated and I enjoyed the most was probably with the '85 in Eleuthera, because that was the first season that I been on the sports team, so I was a little more free to do, get into the shows and like I said, I used to love water skiing, so that was my thing. I would get up early in the morning, water ski before the classes start, and then we'd ski again at lunchtime, and then we'd ski at the end of the afternoon. And what my favorite time of the day was after we'd ski in the late afternoon, and the sun would be coming down, and then we'd have to walk back. Because I don't know if you didn't ever work at Luther, but we had two sides. We had the marina side, which was on the other side of the island, on the Caribbean side, and the village was on the Atlantic side. So there'd be a little bus bring us back and forth. But at the end of the day, when all the gyms were finished, we'd have to walk back through like a little forest. So that would be always the best time there. You'd walk back, get to the bar, the sun would be falling down, and it's like nighttime almost. You're still in your shorts and your t-shirt, and you have your glasses hanging over you, and you're having a little beer, and you say, "Wow, this was great."
Yeah, like this is my office, right?
Nah, this is my office. And I have this one picture that it's like that. The sun is down. I still see it. Well, look at it once in a while. I have my glasses hanging on. We used to wear croquis back then. Remember that?
Yes.
Croquis. I had my red croquis on. And I said, "Yeah, that's Club Med for me. Just having a good time, meeting people, and just enjoying life.
And I'm guessing that that day you chose to drive from Montreal to New York because your application got rejected. I'm assuming you have zero regrets, right, about anything.
Yeah, zero regrets. The only regret is that maybe I didn't do it long enough.
Yeah,
That I
yeah.
got out too early. That's maybe the only regret I have. But it was all fun being part of it. Like, I mean, doing the recruiting part was fun. Going to villages again, and like having friends like Kevin and yeah, I was able to go back and just live the thrill, like we'd say, for 2 weeks or a month time. It was all great. No regrets.
Well, Jimmy, I can't tell you how happy I am that we've connected or reconnected, because 30 years is a long time. I hate to even say 30 years, but anyway, but that's what it was. So I'm glad that man, it was driving me crazy. It was like having an itch you can't scratch, right, for 30 years. So I'm glad I could
Well,
finally scratch it.
well, I'm glad you reached out. I'm happy we took this time to talk together. And I guess as a recruiter, I must have did a pretty good job to have hired some good people, and look, people like you that ended up like being tattooed Club Med, and still 30 years later still doing things, reaching out to GOs and doing podcasts. Because in reality, at the end of the day, it's like one big happy family that we are.
That's right. Well said, sir. Could not have said that better myself. Well, thank you once again, Jimmy, for agreeing to share your story with us here today.
My pleasure, Greg. Thank you very much.
Seasoners, that was the one and only Jimmy Dimopoulos. I want to thank him so much for being here. I'll let you say goodbye to everyone. Jimmy, you want to take us out?
Yes. Bye bye, everybody. Have a great day.
And we'll see y'all next week. Bye.